Okay, I've got time, 10:30. I'll go ahead and call a meeting to order. Becky, would you do roll, please?
I sure will. Mike Copine,
Here.
Keen Hudson,
Present.
Katie White, Angie Shippert,
Here.
Mike Pearson.
Here.
Mike's here.
Thank you.
Okay, please turn off or mute your cell phones if you have one with you this morning, so we don't have any interruptions. Okay. Alice, so you don't have to sit here through the whole meeting. Do you want to go ahead and
Sure.
with your information?
Good morning. Last week, the ZBA finished its hearing on the Stewart Creek's petition for utility scale solar. During that hearing, it became apparent that the issue with battery storage is a little bit muddled, so I wanted to give some clarification to the county board members because I'm not sure everyone is on the same page. When the state came through last year and they did their siting standards for wind and solar, they included in their definition of a commercial solar energy facility, battery storage as an accessory to a project. So currently, Lee County is under moratorium for battery energy storage system. So what this means is if a standalone battery energy storage project comes in tomorrow and wants to petition, this would be strictly battery energy storage, no other wind, solar, or other alternative energy production. That petition would not be allowed to be filed because of our current moratorium. However, if a wind or solar petition comes in tomorrow and they petition and a portion of their project includes battery storage accessory to their project, that is allowed under the state statute. So I wanted to make that clear to the board members in case that had been overlooked by my office. Any questions?
So if that happens, like, and we don't have the ordinance, what kind of guidelines does that fall under? What does that look like?
So what we did with Stewart Creek, because we do not have any regulations specific to battery storage currently in Lee County, I did look to Stevenson County. They do have an ordinance in place, and we adopted conditions specific to battery energy storage for that project. We'll be looking to use those same conditions going forward based on the precedents that was established under Stewart Creek if it is adopted. So that is what we're doing right now to deal with those issues until we get something in place under an ordinance.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
for-
Does that mean then that those conditions specifically would come before the board when the whole project does?
Correct.
Okay.
They'll be part of the resolution.
Mhm.
So if the county board decides to adopt those conditions, then they would be part of the project. They would have to comply with those conditions. So,
Okay.
and do you want me to email you the report so you can kind of see what we proposed?
Yeah, is it available for the board, like the conditions from Stevenson?
Yes, because we finished up the hearing last week and the turnover time, I basically got it all together this morning. So
Okay.
you can either stop by and pick up a copy, or I can email you a copy, totally up to you. But I'll be getting it to Becky to get it out on onboard as well.
Okay. Thank you. Yep.
Any other questions for Alice? Okay, thanks, Alice. Appreciate it. Okay, Dean, any comments, criticisms, requests, donations? Yeah. Yeah, I see the sheriff sliding his microphone over. I don't know if that's a hint, get ready, or Reed, any comments? Tom? Amy, I know you've got a report, so I'll let you when we get down here.
Nancy, no, I don't.
Or Nancy, what did I say?
That's all right. That's all right. I know. This is where Amy always sits.
I knew I should have finished that coffee this morning. Okay, going to the last month's minutes, meeting minutes. Did everybody have a chance to read them? And if so, any corrections, changes, deletions, or anything? Okay, if not, they'll stand approved as read. Animal control, Terry.
Morning, everybody. So I have a couple things. There was a couple incidences out at the animal control. The end of January, we had some damage to the front quarter panel of the truck. I don't know how it happened. It must have been when we were going door to door and somebody must have backed into it or something. It wasn't, nobody saw it. So that claim has been turned in and the truck will be fixed April 1st. Dixon Auto is going to do it. It will be down for 3 days and I have a backup. Alice from zoning is going to let us use her truck if need be. So that's all set up. February 17th, there was an incident in regards to a dog. I have filed all the paperwork, and so we're just waiting on that to be taken care of. Also, there's January and February graphs are included for the viewing. I think it was on onboard. Oh, she's got it up there. And then just a couple other things. I have one of my ACOs has been here for 5 years this year. So that's a nice goal for my office anyway. And then I also have a new employee that's been there 6 months. So we're on a good, employee, at least keeping them with us anyway.
Anybody have any further questions or anything?
When a bite happens or something at the office, is there a root cause performed? Like, do you guys get together and just sit about and think like why that happened or any findings?
If we know what happened, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to, all situations are different. So I try to educate as we go. If I see something that somebody has done or maybe have done better, then I try to correct or educate, further. So that's kind of how things are done. Otherwise, there's basic rules, I guess, kind of to follow.
Mm-hmm. Was this an incident where rules weren't followed at all, or?
I can't answer that.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Terry.
Any other questions?
Yes. Terry, what was the cost of the accident damage expenses?
For the truck?
Yeah, what was the amount of the damage?
3,000-ish.
$3,000?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
What area did that happen in, Terry?
I don't know because we had the truck outside and we were trying to rack our brains as to where they were, the area, which I think was the west side that day. So I don't know if it happened over there or if somebody was in our parking lot. At the same time, the truck was sitting out because we had a gas leak. And so it was sitting outside. And that's when we noticed it was like that next day. So I don't know, like I said, if it happened over on the west side while it was sitting, when we were going door to door, or if we didn't see anybody in the parking lot on the cameras. So I honestly don't know.
Okay. I have a question for you regarding something that had been done in past times. I can't give you any time element, but dealing with the adoption of pets.
Mhm.
They used to take 2 or 3 of the maybe older, more disciplined dogs out to public places like at the mall or someplace and let people come out and look at them and see if they might want them. Is that still being done or anything?
So it did before COVID. There were things like over at PetSmart, they would have like some sort of fair, whatever you want to call it. And that's when we would take some dogs over and, you know, let people view them, or if we had a cat or something at the time. But yeah, we have adopted that way before.
Did that drift away because of COVID-19?
Yeah.
Prior to that situation, do you know whether it was a strongly successful move? I mean, some of these dogs are staying at these facilities quite a while.
Well, I'll tell you, my philosophy is there's too much breeding going on. And that's why everybody is full with dogs. The rescues, the shelters, us. You know, it never used to be like this. And it's kind of coming to a head now that, you know, there's just too much breeding going on. And I don't care if you have one female or if you have 5, 10, there's just too much going on. If you're a good breeder, that's one thing. But when we're full right now of backyard breeder dogs, I mean, it's sad to see. It really is, because these dogs are not wanted. And so people, they don't come and get them. Dogs are owned, but it's just people won't come and reclaim them.
Well, I don't want to ask what happens to them after that. But would it be?
I try not to do that, to be
would
honest
it-
with you.
Well, and I respect that.
Yeah.
Would it be beneficial to consider maybe
I do.
trying something like that again?
Yeah, as far as taking them places.
I mean, every place but Amboy, I don't want my grandkids going in.
Mike has a
Mike?
question too.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Is there a better way to enforce it for those backyard breeders?
Okay, so in our ordinances that we did a year and a half, 2 years ago, we wanted to do actually 0 to 5. They would have to register as a breeder. 5, you have to register with the state. You have to actually have a license through the state. So we were going to go 0 to 5. Well, it got changed from 3 to 5. So like I said, anybody that has 1 or 2 female dogs, you know, they're
Yeah.
having puppies. And, you know, I don't know if people think they're going to make money. They don't. And then we end up with the dogs.
Do
Do
you
we
think
ever-
that, sorry,
Go ahead, Mike.
do you think that a good portion of these are actually registered with the state?
No. These are the dogs that we're getting. I'm pretty sure they're these people that have maybe 1, 2 female dogs, and they just have litter after litter. You know, and I think the good breeders do have, I think they're legit, you know, they're registered, and they've registered with us, and they keep us up to date on everything that they're supposed to.
Do we have any strength or teeth in the ordinance to enforce it?
We can change the ordinance from 3 to 5 to 0 to 5.
Because I agree with you. I think they're just looking at the money aspect of
Mhm.
things. And if they've got enough to sell, they'll sell what they can. And if they
Right.
don't, they'll get rid of them whatever
Yeah.
way they can.
And I feel like there's enough dogs out there that, you know, we can not breed for a few years.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Terry? Okay, we'll move on. Amy. I got it right that time. Or Nancy. I got it wrong again. One more strike and I'm out. Okay, I'm sorry. Whatever, go ahead. I'm gonna go get some more of that coffee. Amy is not here. Go ahead, Nancy.
Nancy doesn't have a report, Mike.
Okay. We have nothing from the coroner, judges, or public defender. Kevin is not available this morning. he should have some stuff in the packet. Stacy's not here. Sheriff, you're up.
All right, I was a little late in getting my report submitted to Becky, so I don't know if it got put in on board. Okay, it did, but I'll just touch on some of the highlights. Month of February, we responded to 794 calls of service, assisted the city of Dixon with the apprehension of an armed robber for Casey's. One of our deputies was patrolling the Dixon area, got the description, and at that time of night, 2 o'clock in the morning, there's not much traffic. He saw a vehicle, it abruptly pulled into a parking lot and extinguished its lights. He thought that to be fairly suspicious. So he turned around, and the individual that got out of the vehicle had the same clothing description from the armed robbery, and subsequently took off running. So we knew that there was where there's smoke, there's fire. So yeah, we circled the area with additional personnel, and ultimately he was taken into custody. The gun that was actually used was found to be a very realistic looking BB gun, but that individual was charged with aggravated robbery and robbery. A couple days later, on the 18th, we were sent to a recent stolen vehicle out of Rock River Estates. That information was given out to other area law enforcement agencies. A Dixon police officer actually spotted the vehicle, conducted a traffic stop on it. The driver was wanted on a Department of Corrections warrant. And then he also had controlled substance and was charged with possession of stolen vehicle. And he actually also resisted and kicked one of the officers in the groin. So he got some additional charges for that. We also, Chief Bailiff Ed Stewart has announced that he is going to be retiring in August. So we have begun looking for his replacement. Chief Stewart has been over at the courthouse monitoring security for both this facility and the new courthouse since 2010. So he's been there quite a while. It's quite the mainstay. He actually suggested to us Pat Bodmer, who's a sergeant in our patrol division, to be his replacement as far as, being a seamless and smooth transition. And we totally agree. So effective probably in June, we're going to have Sergeant Bodmer shadow Chief Stewart to learn all the nuances and what he needs to know as far as the facility and the video system, whatnot. At the end of last month, we were able to implement body cameras. That was the unfunded mandate from the Safety Act that we had until January 1st, 2025, get in place. So we're a little ahead, working through the bugs right now. We still got some modernization to do to a couple of squad cars, so everything will integrate together. Then actually Chief Deputy Rankin and I had a meeting with the Village of Ashton in Franklin Grove 2 Saturdays ago, I believe, in regards to contracting for police services. Ashton has not had a police officer for probably 3 years now. And then Village of Franklin Grove, their chief retired a couple months ago. So they were interested in contracting with us. We sat down with them, kind of explained some of the cost and how we could. There was a little sticker shock when I talked to Franklin Grove initially. So they decided that they would split the cost so we could do 20 hours in each entity. And that apparently went to each respective village committee last night, and both of them passed resolutions to contract with us. So that's coming down the pike. That's all I got.
Thank you, Sheriff. Anybody have any questions for the sheriff? Okay.
Mike does.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
That's okay. Is that going to require any additional hirees?
Yes, that will require an additional deputy to be hired.
Thank you.
Is that on the contracting end of it, Sheriff?
Pardon me?
Requiring another individual?
Yes, there will be splitting the cost.
Okay. Is that going to present any situation of that individual being strictly for the contract purpose, or?
We're going to do it similar to what we do with Paw Paw, and that agreement is set to expire this year. But what the agreement with Paw is we provide 40 hours of law enforcement services at various times throughout a 7-day period. So with Ashton and Franklin Grove, they were agreeable to split 20 hours. Each one would pay for 20 hours. So essentially, the deputies that are out there, once they go to the municipality, they log in the computer that they are in Franklin Grove conducting patrol, and then that will track how long they've been in the village. And at the end of the month, we can run a report to say how many hours they have patrolled within those jurisdictions to show them that, you know, hey, we had 20 hours this week, 20 hours this week, 20 hours this week.
Are the, excuse me, are they still available for backup?
Yes.
In the
Oh, yeah.
event that a county car would need help?
Yep,
or something?
absolutely, yeah. And they'll do it at, you know, sporadic times, so you can't really, so the criminal element really doesn't know when they're going to be there.
Right.
So they might be there from, you know, 10 in the morning till noon, or they might be, you know, 7 o'clock at night till 8. And so it's all together within that 7-day period. We just provide them with the set amount of number of hours.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
I have a question, Sheriff. So people understand this is not going to be any additional cost to the county.
Correct. They're
So people
going to-
understand that you're just replacing an officer or a rotation who will be handling those services that are contracted.
They will be footing the bill for another
Oh.
deputy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the state's attorney informed me that he may not be here. He had a sentencing hearing that he had to conduct. However, the statistics were left, I think, with Becky. Or Jeremy, do you have them?
I do.
And this is on the collection of unpaid fines.
Right. So for January, the total was $3,590.12. February total was $4,178.85. So far in 2024, we've collected $7,768.97. Just another note is that since 2019, we have been able to collect $273,138. So that is the data I've from Charlie.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll keep going with you then, Jeremy, on as far as the report on abandoned property focus, if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, sure. So we have revisited the abandoned nuisance properties focus group, kind of getting everybody back together and getting a clear direction on that. It's been a handful of months since that focus group has met. We were able to bring in our board members that are involved in that focus group, as well as the staff members and the departments that are involved with that in different capacities. So, myself, Becky was there, our board members, and then we had members from the health department as well as the zoning office, because we all have a piece of how that procedure works depending upon what the complaint is or what is going on within that nuisance property. And we just got refocused on what our mission is, what we're trying to accomplish with that. We re-identified a list of properties and created some priority action items on that. I have been working with a demolition company that is a recycling company as well. So what they do is mostly at minimal and sometimes free cost to the county or the property owners. They will come in and actually remove the nuisance property for you, depending upon what type of abatement might need to be taking place prior to that. So with some of our larger structures that we've identified throughout the county, those are the areas of interest with this company. And we're going to continue to work on trying to figure out how we are going to make sure we have the ability and accessibility to take these down, clear the health and safety hazards that they are, whether that's the county having to take action or the property owner, allowing us and giving us permission to take these hazards down. So we're very focused on that, as well as working on some of the residential pieces You know, and there's a handful of different financial opportunities to assist us. Again, working with a company that I've been in conversation with, as well as a Strong Communities grant, and that's for residential. And there's other grant opportunities actually that the zoning office has identified that might help us out with both residential and commercial properties. So it was great to get back together, to create a focus, to understand what our goals were and to set some priorities, to make sure that all the players that are involved in these processes were in the room. I think moving forward, you know, we may have like some, you know, the sheriff's department involved or someone from the state's attorneys, you know, involved, depending upon what those procedures need to be, depending upon what the action is. But it was a very productive meeting, and you know, we're going to meet once a month, the Friday before committee week, and really make sure that we're keeping things moving forward. Any questions on that?
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. There's nothing on the slate for unfinished business nor new business, and we don't have anything for executive session. Does anybody have any questions or suggestions? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Made by Angie and seconded by Keen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.